how about that Mark Robinson bombshell? Wow. Dude, homie, I mean, we knew that guy was up. What a disaster that guy is. Trump has to be panicking, bro. Because if he loses North Carolina, it is not possible for him to win this election. What a blow to have his association. Popcorn, baby. So why do I think this is significant? Number one is the age-old situation of an anti-trans, anti-gay, Republican Christian that you find out that they have an appetite for transgender adult content. And the shame these people carry. It's like, dude, if you like trans content, so what? Live it up. You know what I mean? Enjoy. Have a good time. You know, get off. Go do it. Have fun. No one cares. Nobody cares how that guy has sex. Nobody cares if he has like a dozen trans lovers. Doesn't matter. However, these guys engage in that, but then they hide it. And they have some weird shame about it, which turns them into monsters that then go out and attack trans people. He attacks trans people because he's ashamed of himself for like loving transgender sexuality. That is like the age-old situation, and it's so dumb. This guy is somebody who rails against people for their lifestyles. And so to find out somebody who rails, they spend their entire life railing against other human beings' lifestyles. And then you find out that they're, you know, times 10, right? Dude, it's crazy.
The Trump-backed candidate for governor in North Carolina, Mark Robinson, has made dozens of disturbing and damning comments on a porn website. Some of the comments are frankly so disturbing that we cannot air them. But they include Robinson writing, quote, "I am a black Nazi, and I wish they would bring slavery, back."
Dude.
Robinson also calling himself a, quote, perv while discussing his affinity for transgender.
Dude, bring slavery back? Like, what is that, bro? Obviously, you think on some level he's got to be like trolling or something, but is that like a submission thing, or what is this guy doing, bro?
Keep in mind that he has called transgender kids sick and demonic. These comments were made between 2008 and 2012. And at this hour, Robinson is defiant, refusing to step aside. And at this point, Robinson has only 5 hours to do so. 5 hours.
Dude, he's not going to step aside, bro. He is going to sink the ship.
Robinson's Trump's guy. This is what Trump's been saying about Robinson for years.
Oh, Trump is like hook, line, and sinker to this guy.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids.
Oh.
I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2. One of the great stars of the party, one of the great stars in politics, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. I'm a great supporter of his. You're incredible, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. This is a hot politician. He's a hot politician. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. A real star, great guy. Friend of mine, Mark Robinson.
Friend of his.
Okay, I just didn't want to leave any ambiguity out there.
Only the best people for Trumpy. Oh, Lord, bro. That is some damning stuff.
The Harris campaign tonight is wasting no time highlighting that relationship, posting these images with a thumbs up emoji. Now, Robinson is really crucial in the presidential race because he is running to be governor in North Carolina. And Trump's road to the White House runs through North Carolina.
Got to win North Carolina.
That is why
This is not us. These are not our words. And this is not anything that is characteristic of me, nor has it ever had.
This is not us. See, this is interesting, the way he says, this is not us. You notice that? This is not us. These are not our words. When you think about it, his choice to use those words, this is not us. These are not our words. It's a way of him denying it without lying. That's one of those word plays. That's a way to deny while still, you know, convincing yourself that you're telling the truth. Dude, this guy's so funny.
Folks here also know my character. They know.
Yeah, we know your character. That's part of the problem there, boss.
This is not my voice. This is not things that we would ever say or even think.
How do you explain all of the matching details on this profile? How can you deny with all of these matching details that this is you?
Look, I'm not going to get into the minutia of how somebody manufactured these salacious tabloid lies, but I can tell you this: there's been over $1 million spent on me through AI by a billionaire son who's bound and determined to
Yikes.
destroy me. The things that people can do with the internet now is incredible. But what I can
Do with the internet? Yeah, you know what we can do, Mark Robinson? We went back in time 12 years and opened an account. That's what we did. It's like, that's a special kind of AI that we went back to 12 years ago and logged up some messages. Some of that language is, conversational, and the personal details. It's definitely him.
You mentioned AI. Are you saying that somebody was somehow manufacturing biographical details to exactly match you using your username? Is that what you're telling me here when you say that?
look, I have no idea how this was done. I have absolutely no idea.
Dude, maybe God did it, right? Maybe, right? Maybe God did it. Maybe God's just like, let's have some fun here. What's with all these Christians? Screenshots show Robinson used mini soldier all over the internet. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson used the same alias and email he used on the Nude Africa across several social media platforms, though many of these accounts haven't been active in years. See, that's even more damning. The fact that this was an identity he used to use years ago, but now he doesn't really use it anymore. I mean, it looks like, of course, he left it behind and swapped it up. So we've got a Facebook post that shows the handle. We've got a Pinterest handle that hasn't saved any pins. On Black Planet, there's a profile. Has all his contact info. This was back in 2008, right around that time. We have Mini Soldier here that was on a Discuss profile that never really got any use. And he had a YouTube channel that he stopped using years ago. Okay, on the Nude Africa website, in both comments and his profile, Mini Soldier offered numerous details that align precisely with Robinson's personal history. Now, this is where it gets important because obviously 10 years ago, he was not a high-profile figure. If somebody had been reading his interviews for the last 2 or 3 years, 4 years since 2020, they might have a bevy of personal details. And so if somebody last year had started these accounts, it would be entirely believable that he was being catfished. To cultivate this idea, it's him. But this is, 2008 was 16 years ago. This is between 12 and 16 years ago, long before this guy was anywhere near politics. He had no high profile. He was not a public figure in any way. None. Nobody knew who he was. So for somebody to be putting his very personal public details out on the internet 16 years ago, before anybody knew this guy was going to be part of politics at all, is just not. It's not fake. You can't fake that. So in his profile, Mini Soldier listed his full name as Mark Robinson, disclosed a private email address Robinson used elsewhere online. In 2012, a user responded to a comment by calling Mini Soldier Mark. Mini Soldier mentioned in 2008 being married for 18 years, which corresponds with his marriage to Yolanda Hill in 1990. In 2011, Mini Soldier wrote he had been married 21 years. And again, 21 years. Mini Soldier wrote in 2011 post that he lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, the same town where Robinson lived at the time and currently lives. Biographical data shared by Mini Soldier online lines up with Robinson's details. Information shared by the alias Mini Soldier on Nude Africa and Adult Friend Finder. Oh, dude, he was using AFF, bro. This is how you know it's not fake. In a post in 2012, Mini Soldier said he served in the Army in the 80s during the same time period as Robinson. In his sexually graphic comments detailing watching women in the showers in 2011, Mini Soldier wrote that his mother worked at a historically black college university. Robinson's mother worked as a custodian right at the North Carolina A&T State University, HCBU, located in Greensboro. And that kind of aligns with that thing because, of course, the custodian would have had keys to that closet that had the vents in it that looked into the showers. You see how this is all tying together? Like, dude, it was so him, bro. He goes to work with his mom, and he's going in the janitor's closet and peeping women taking showers. But this is really damning. is that there's a mini soldier that is there's just too many connections here. It's getting ridiculous. Robinson's unique choice of language further links him to the mini soldier alias on the pornographic forums. Uncommon phrases such as gag a maggot, dunderhead, and I don't give a frog's ass, and I don't give two shakes of it were used by both mini soldier on Nude Africa and by Robinson on his personal Facebook page. So yeah, dude, that is wild, bro. Gag a maggot, I don't give two shakes of it, I don't give a frog's ass. And they're both back then on these things and on his personal Facebook page now. Like, dude, you just know it. Uncommon phrases used by Mini Soldier and Robinson. Here are several examples of unique phrases used by both Mini Soldier on Nude Africa and by North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson on his personal Facebook page. I don't give a frog's fat ass where that vid came from. Note to the news media, I don't give frog's fat ass about Bill Cosby. That's in 2014, 2011, 2014, and here's 2017. I don't give a frog's fat behind who Serena Williams was married. I don't give two shakes of my black ass about dem Mexicans. We don't give two shakes of our behinds about that yellow-haired swimmer. Gag a something maggot. Get that blank commie bastard out of the National Mall. Hashtag gag a maggot. Dunderhead from a Hollywood Dunderhead. This is 2010, 2016 pop culture. Hitting an uneducated pop culture dunderhead. It's even used in the same context. Very damning.
Another thing that we found was that Robinson used slurs on the website. We found that he often used anti-gay slurs.
Of course he did.
Used an anti-Jewish slur. He used an anti-Muslim slur. And he even disparaged civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., calling him a, quote, commie bastard, and Martin Lucifer then using a racial slur.
He's also said incendiary things about transgender people. We talked about a couple of them, horrific things that he has said about transgender people. But he also admitted on this website to then watching transgender pornography.
That's right. In one of the comments we found, Robinson says that he enjoys, quote, watching transgender, saying, quote, that's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in, and then adding, quote, I'm a perv too.
I mean, all of this tracks, dude. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say with quite accuracy, when you find someone who is like fervently anti-trans or anti-LGBTQ, if they're like ferociously about it, there's some kind of shame thing going on. That's a shame reaction. It's normal for people to maybe have questions, even possibly feel uncomfortable. But when you're like rabidly trying to remove those types of people, when their existence makes you so uncomfortable that you have to pass laws against them, that's a sign that there's something going on. Something deep rooted is going on. And it's usually a shame response. Somebody had a trans lover and could never reconcile it. Or maybe they're super attracted to transgender women and they feel dirty because of their religion has taught them that that's bad and devilish. You know what I mean? It's like always the case, bro. You know, it's just real common.
You have been fielding calls from Republicans. What are they telling you?
Yeah, and it's been remarkable, those calls, and I'll explain why in a second. But I want to start with that rally down in Asheboro. Mark Robinson didn't actually have a speaking role at that rally, which I thought was surprising at the time. But as you noted, the former president did call him up the stage. He did shake his hand. He called him a good man, said he had to win. And one North Carolina Republican operative I was talking with earlier today said that's a really important moment for Mark Robinson. I said, why is that? He said, that's the last time he will ever be in public with Donald Trump if this campaign knows what they're doing. You've made very clear, as you read Caroline Leavitt, the Trump campaign spokeswoman's statement, they are distancing themselves. They are talking about his race.
Dude, they are going to treat him like kryptonite now, bro. But here's the deal, though. I don't think it matters. I think he is tied. Dude, the airwaves, I think every content creator on the planet's making a video about this. This is like, we got Project 2025, and we got the hub, the T-hub, on the other side.
In fact, he's won the state twice and needs to win it again. They are not talking about Mark Robinson.
Dude,
now, when it comes
they
to this
have
story,
to win North Carolina.
I've been doing this 15, 16 years, have covered a lot of pretty explosive stories. I've never seen what happened in the hours before Andrew and K-File's story came out as I did today, which was this.
Yeah, that was really big too. I don't know if you guys saw that, but so what happened is, I guess like 2 days ago, CNN requested a comment. So these people, when a story like this breaks, the subject always knows about it, always. So he knew, and today you could tell the level, the way they responded to it, and the way it was making the rounds. It was like, fake stories don't hit like that. Fake stories, usually the guy just instantly responds, leaves a comment. The comment sits at the bottom of the story. There was a hubbub. There was like a, 5 deep panic. Right? You know what I'm saying? Panic all the way out to the bleachers, bro.
Morning, I started getting phone calls from Republicans, both here in D.C., but also some in North Carolina, asking what this story was about. I had no idea. I wasn't involved in reporting it. But the fact is, the campaign or people tied to the campaign were clearly trying to front run, to get out in front of this story, try and spin it in their direction.
Big time.
The Lieutenant Governor try and do with Andrew directly. That made it significantly worse.
AI.
The anticipation for this story. Because of this, Aaron, a number of Republicans I spoke to said, how could it possibly be worse than what he said in the past? This is no stranger to very, very explosive remarks, offensive remarks.
It's true. This guy is one of the most offensive politicians on the planet, bro. I mean, he said, like, people should be killed, referring to gay people. He's like Jesus the murderer. That's his shtick.
It's part of his brand. And one of those people who said that before the story came out, after it came out, called me and said, well, it was a very high bar, but he absolutely cleared that bar. And I think that's the reality now for Republicans. We saw Ralph Norman on Capitol Hill, a South Carolina Republican House.
That is hilarious. He's basically saying it would be nearly impossible for this thing to be worse than anything else this guy has done. And then they're like, oh, yeah, it's worse. Homie nailed it.
He needed to resign. Marjorie Taylor Greene saying she needed to learn more about this, but couldn't support someone who has these positions if it's...
Marjorie Taylor Greene says she needs to go scope out this website, dude. She's up on Nude Africa. She's downloading. I think there are a couple things at play. I think middle of the road people seeing Trump being associated with this guy and seeing that this guy is a scumbag, and they also hear about Project 2025 and they see the abortion laws, women dying because of these abortion laws, the Jeffrey Epstein connection. It just gives a little extra layer of ick that every person Trump associates with is some type of degenerate. It hurts him that way. But I think the real effect of this is for the Democrats. I think Democrats seeing this were reminded what a bunch of hypocrites these guys are. We're reminded about how fake and fraudulently toxic these guys are, and how we need to come out in like an army and send these motherfuckers packing. That's really what I think it does. There's a lot of LGBTQ people in North Carolina, and now they are motivated to get in there and vote, because yet again, the person that's stalking them, attacking them, trying to erase them is in love with them yet again. Because I heard this and I am like fired up. I'm like, North Carolina is ours. We're taking this shit.
What do you think, Kate?
You know what I mean? Let's go.
I think that this is hilarious. I think that this is hilarious.
Me too.
Because there's a long history of hypocritical Republicans getting caught up in some messy sex scandals.
I told you.
During the entire, it's ongoing, so I can't say it's over. But this witch hunt against LGBTQ people has been led by a bunch of homophobes who themselves were in the closet.
They're dipping.
These folks who are getting
They got their hand in the cookie jar.
Transgender relationships, people who are soliciting sex from, sex workers, like all kind of crazy stuff has gone down. And so I'm not surprised by the hypocrisy here that we're seeing on display. And so I am looking forward to seeing who in the Republican Party actually starts the call for him to step out of this race.
I don't know if you guys noticed, we're starting to see a pattern. And I know we've seen this pattern for a while, but it's starting to become real obvious. Like the video I did last night, where you see that J.D. Vance and Donald Trump knew the Springfield, Ohio thing was false. And they created it anyway. Why? Because they're just trying to attack black people with a racial trope that will maybe infect some middle American people who already are a little uncomfortable with the idea of a black woman being president. And so if they think for a minute that black people are like eating animals, they're going to not vote for her. It's like a direct correlation of she's black, let's trope and try to undercut her. These guys, you know, fervently anti-LGBTQ, but they got their hand in the cookie jar on the sly. And I think the reminder of this, the constant reminder that like, wow, here we go again. Here we go again. We need to stop. We need to stop rewarding that. And I mean, it should be all of us. You know, we're back in the whole, it's like the mask mandate thing. The only reason we needed a mask mandate was because a whole bunch of asshole-ish people wanted to not wear the mask. And I don't understand why we're not all like Republicans and Democrats gathering up and being like, man, we're just not going to vote for this shit. That's the thing that surprises me. Trump's racism or this guy's like transgender, you know, sexual appetite, that doesn't surprise me. But it surprises me that people allow that stuff without any requirement of people being responsible for their behavior, especially when it's like the group of people that are claiming family values / moral superiority / you know what I mean? They're claiming this moral lifestyle and they're not even doing the bare minimum to acknowledge their own realities. I've always said, guys, stay away from those message boards.